Bow your heads and join with me then in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your promises to be with us, to hear and to answer our prayers. We thank you for the blessings you give us each day, new every morning. We ask your specific blessing this evening upon our nation, our state, and especially our township and our community here in Gloucester Township, that you would be a blessing to us. We thank you for all who serve. We remember this evening and ask your blessing upon our police, our fire, our first responders, and all those people that serve us, making us safe. We ask this evening that you would in turn make them safe. Bless us this evening as we gather together to do business. May it be in accordance to your glory and to the benefit and the building and the unity of our township. We ask this in the name of our Savior. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council with scheduled designated time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Where you use an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain audible and clear record, we request all those wishing to speak to be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device is to be solely utilized by a Township Clerk's office. This shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Seiler.
Mr. Seiler is ill.
Mrs. Strato. Here. Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Bianchini.
Present.
Glenn Franks may contact you last night.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Lechner.
Here.
Chief Earl.
Here.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Carter.
Here.
Mr. Shannon.
Here.
Thank you. We'll now have the first public portion. If you wish to speak on any agenda items only, please raise your hand, come to the microphone. Ray?
Good evening, Council. Ray Pauldar, Ariel.
Good evening, Ray.
Belated Happy Father's Day to where it applies. Thank you. On the agenda, the bid section for the carpet replacement here in the township, the township clearly indicated that they were going with the second lowest bidder, and the difference is of $2,000. A couple of questions I have on that. Number one, from what I could see, and correct me if I'm wrong, Barton Carpet was the lowest bidder, and if I saw this correctly, are they not located here in Gloucester Township?
I reviewed the bids when they came in after the Public Works, and they came to me for particulars on legalities. The low bidder, by statute, all bids are have a 10% bid bond. His bid bond was a certified check for 3%. Bids are also to have a consent of surety because they're required to do a performance bond. If they get the award of the contracts, we have a consent of surety, which is a company that says we will post a performance bond. His bid did not have a performance bond or a consent of surety. The bid bond is not a waivable item that you can waive for deficiency.
Okay. When the request for that bid had gone out, was that specific in that request for that?
Yes.
And they still okay. Okay.
And it required a consent of surety.
All right. Again, my question, though, to clarify, in my question, was Barton Carpet a local Gloucester Township business?
I don't know. Do you know that?
I can't answer that when I was looking at. There were 3 or 4, 5 bidders that I looked at. I don't recall what their address was.
You know, Tom?
Nationwide. I know Nationwide.
Nationwide is, but
Nationwide?
I don't know about.
We know about Barton. And we know that the other firm that we are accepting the bid from is not from Gloucester Township. Is that correct?
Might not be, I'm not sure, but they qualified as far as the legal and our communication with Public Works since they met the requirements of the specs.
Now, there's nothing in the specs that says they have to be from Gloucester Township or the state for any of that, am I correct?
And again, I'm only asking that, as far as the criteria, I get that, but would it not be in our best interest, when applicable and when it's doable, to look for these bids from Gloucester Township? And are we enticing local businesses to bid on various contracts and work here in the township?
Well, Ray, I would think we all would agree that if a business in town would qualify, then we would love to have them do the work. However, and correct if I'm wrong, Tom or Dave, I don't think we can limit it to just people in the town.
No, cannot.
But, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it would be nice, but we just can't do that at this point.
Mr. President, qualified response on that.
Warren Carpenter is on Brown Road in Belmont.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Yeah, Pete, yes.
Good evening, Pete Heimbo, Morningstar Court. Just one quick follow-up to that question about the carpet bids. It's a little bit of a barrier to entry to dealing with the government. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and it's a little complicated, especially for maybe a company that's bidding for the first time. Were they given a chance to rectify the bond, the 10% and the 3%?
I don't know if,
Can't wait.
I don't think you can do that, and that would be unfair to the next bidder who did everything correctly. So, there's certain, they could actually sue if we would have authorized that bid.
But just tell them what they did wrong and give them a chance to
Well,
do
they
it right.
could do it next time. And, if they want to bid on the next time we need carpet, hopefully they'll understand what they need.
That sounds a little suppressive to. I mean, it isn't easy bidding and
I
getting
understand that,
contract.
but we also have to be fair to all the bidders. And so I know from my days in the county, you can't just arbitrarily say, well, go ahead, bring it back to us, because then you're violating the
No, I'm not.
right?
Just
Violate state procurement statute.
Right.
to rectify a technical. Okay, that sounds.
It's their responsibility too, Pete.
Okay.
Make sure they have it right. Thank you. Anyone else? See no other hands? We'll close the public portion of bids.
Rebid for carpet replacement for the Gloucester Township Municipal Building.
Motion to accept the bids.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Minutes?
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of June 8th.
Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. We now have resolutions of consent agenda. If any council person wishes to remove any of them, please let me know now. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. We now have the consent agenda for liquor license renewals. If any council person wishes to remove any of these items, please let me know.
I just wanted to let you know, this is the way we must do them from now on. The state has changed their procedure, so we used to put these on 3 separate resolutions, and now each club distribution and consumption have to have their own resolution. So that's why there's so many.
But from a consent agenda, someone needs
Right.
to remove them for
Right.
conflict of interest. So if I don't hear anyone needing to remove, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for liquor license renewals. On the question, roll call.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Now, I do not have any GTD Gov access questions, so I will open up to the second public portion. If you wish to speak on any item, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Ray?
Ray Polidor, Ariel. First, I want to say that before I came to the council meeting tonight, I stopped up at the school board meeting. Mr. Bianchini, I know that this is your last term on council, and I want to pay you a very heartfelt compliment. When the clock started here, there was a little bit of turmoil and discussion on that, and I think you've done an outstanding job allowing people to speak with respect to that clock. At the school board, it doesn't work as much that way, and one of the other reasons that Joanne and other folks have noted that you guys should see what else goes on in this township. Mr. Mercado gets an opportunity once in a while when a council meeting is not on the same night as the school board. But when the buzzer goes off, you have to sit down. They look around, see if anybody else needs to speak, and then they make you stand up, reintroduce yourself. They will cut you off in the middle of a sentence. It's a circus. It's a joke. It got fun here for a little while, but that's a joke. That's just an absolute circus. And I think it's very admirable that you allow people to come up and speak, whether you agree or disagree, in how that is done. That being said, on the agenda for the school board is a topic which is something near and dear to my heart, is the conflict of two public meetings on the same evening. We've had that discussion with Mr. Carlemere included. We can't tell them when to meet. Can't tell them when not to meet, but maybe it is in one body's best interest to move a meeting. Well, it was on their agenda for what night of the week they would meet, and even in the middle of the opinion and comment that someone was making, you sit down, look around, get up, and you have to reintroduce yourself on that comment. But I think it would do some folks on council good to get an eyeball at what goes on at a school board meeting. Because even though there's been some turmoil at this meeting, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's a circus. And again, a compliment to you, Mr. Bianchini, as to how you conduct these meetings and allow people to speak their minds and only clack the hammer when it's absolutely necessary. So it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Rick. Anyone else? Pete?
Behind Ball Morningstar Court, I do agree with what Ray was saying about the way you conduct the meeting and use the clock timer and things like that. I've been cut off mid-sentence. You can't even put a period at the end of your sentence sometimes at the school board meetings. Anyway, I also attended from 7 to 7:20 the school board meeting because I wanted to make both. They were coincided again tonight. And they did have on their agenda, the school board did have on their agenda tonight the meeting times for the upcoming school year. And it's on the agenda for Mondays again for the next school year. I stood up last week at the workshop meeting, at the school board meeting, and tonight again, alternated between begging, demanding, guilt trips to get them to change it. We've been asking them for a couple years, just as we've been asking this body for a couple years. And no one's changing. I just don't understand the stubbornness, the silliness, the reasons that don't hold water after 2 years of requests. I mean, can you give me a reason why your body doesn't change? I guess you can't speak for the school board, but all I want is one or the other to change. And I practically got on my knees and begged tonight at the school board meeting. And
I can tell you, Pete, for one reason that I feel strongly about it is, people know our meeting is on Monday. They know it's the 1st is the workshop. They know the 2nd and the 4th is our regular meetings. That's been going on long before I got here, and so that consistency is important to us in order so people want to continue to understand when we are meeting. I can't speak for the school board and how they develop their meeting, but I can only speak for me, and any other council person could chime in. But consistency in knowing when the meetings are to me is important.
If I can add to that. So it was moved to a Tuesday on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of each month as a planning board meeting. Let's say you wanted to attend a planning board meeting because this past 2 weeks ago we adopted an updated master plan for the township. So there would be a conflict there. You wanted to go to a Wednesday night meeting, it's a zoning board meeting. Let's say you have an issue with a project across from Camden County College. If it's a Thursday, it will coincide with the Black Horse Pike Regional School District or an MUA meeting which you've attended. And if it's a Friday, good luck. I'm not going to be here. So and I don't think anyone will be here. So that's the schedule. And
I do happen,
there are going to be conflicts no matter what.
that's a stretch. I do happen to agree with your statements.
How's it a stretch?
Because the most important meetings for each body is the regular board meeting and the regular council meeting. Those others, I do happen to agree with both your responses, though, that I do put it on more of the school board to make that change their day of the week. That this has been a set schedule for time, but we've had no luck asking either side for 2 years now. So I do agree if one should change, it probably should be the school board, but no one's changing. So what now? What it's frustrating.
How many meetings does the school board have per month?
They have one workshop and one regular board meeting. Yeah, two per month. They're both on Mondays. And just the way they time it during the month, 80% of the time it corresponds. There's no off. 80% of the time it does not fall on an off day for council. Just it's been working that way. It's frustrating. And related to that, related to all these meeting times, the last few months when I've been frustrated with some of the actions of the Gloucester Township Municipal Utilities Authority, one of my comments to you, Mr. Bianchini, was, why is it that a resident needs to bring these forward? Why isn't it that the township governing body isn't taking more of an effort to uncover some of these issues that I was bringing up? And your response was, it's part of it can be deciphered as part of the duty of a resident to bring these up, to attend and bring these up. When that's now impossible. Your answer, that was a good answer, I accepted it, and I attend these meetings and try to fill the role that you recommended. It can't be done between the school board and the town. Your response can't be followed. Your recommendation can't be followed based on when these meetings fall. So it's frustrating. I went through the gamut of emotions between guilt and begging and demanding last couple weeks since it was on their school board agenda for their meeting days, and I didn't, I ran to this meeting, so I actually didn't stay around for the vote. But like this body, if ever something's been on the agenda, it's never been voted no. Just like happens at these meetings. So I can sit here with 99.9% of certainty that they're going forward the next school year with Monday meeting days. So it's frustrating. Related back to the MUA, just a couple more follow-ups. I guess there's been. I'll ask it differently. Has there been any action taken to replace or fill that board member seat, MUA board member seat that's there's a carryover?
Not at this time, Pete.
Okay, so
she's considered a holdover.
Right.
She will serve until such time.
right. But given that there's not even a search being conducted,
I'm sorry.
given the fact there's not even a search being conducted or any action being taken, so I can assume.
We have not conducted a search. We have not asked for any resumes or anything.
And has there been any further follow-up on on what I would allege to be an overbilling by Mr. Zangi's firm in those months where he billed 60 hours per week, including 4-day work weeks? Has there been any follow-up, further investigation other than your internal investigation? Has there been anything further with that?
So we did ask the solicitor to go back and converse with the solicitor of the MUA, and I believe he has done that.
But I don't believe, at least I can't speak for the MUA or the solicitor. We didn't talk about if they were doing any internal further investigation on their own to see if there was overbilling. We did touch on the time that he spent in the MUA offices, and from what they were telling me from speaking to the solicitor as well as the prior executive director, that he was there quite often. But did someone audit his time or someone auditing in the future? I can't answer that.
Okay, so outside of any of that, then there's been no investigation,
Not that I
in the legal sphere or anything like that, no
Not that I know.
criminal investigation or anything to that nature. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Joanne?
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch. I saw our chief on the TV again today. He's very photogenic. And he gets a lot of airtime because we're a big town and we have a lot of things going on, but also because our police department is so proactive and has so many innovative ideas that they push. And it's nice to see. A couple of weeks ago, another sick person took fire on a Dallas police department, and he used an armored vehicle. And it just posed a question in my mind, with all of the vehicles that we have and everything that our police need, has any consideration been given or a protocol put in place as to what to do with these vehicles when we no longer want them? How will we dispose of them so that no sick person gets them?
What vehicles are we talking about? The police vehicles?
Well, I know we have the big vehicle that we got, and I just figured there may be some others that might be a little heavily fitted.
No. Okay.
You know, I mean, because the vehicle the fellow had in Texas was like a van. It was an armored van. So, and I thought if we had any vehicles like that, had any protocol been put into place to see about the disposal of them?
I know before we put them out, and Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong, our public works folks who maintain the vehicles take all the special enhancements, if you will, off the vehicles before they are put in for auction. And I believe that's true, am I right?
That's correct.
So we don't give someone with how it's loaded, the special tires and engines and all that stuff. So that's, some of that is changed, as much as we can change. We haven't had an armored vehicle that we had to get rid of at this point. Hopefully the one we have here is going to last for a long, long time.
Right.
And, so
Yeah, right.
I think, you know, we do put them out though, Joanne, you know, on auction. A lot of times the cab companies buy most of the vehicles, from what I've been told. Am I correct on? Yeah. So, but you know, we do take all the enhancements and stuff like that.
Well, I know the chief is up on a lot of things and he's proactive, so I figured he would have an answer.
Yeah.
And he'd have something in place. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Ray?
Ray Polidoro, Ariel. I wanted to follow up on the conversation Mr. Heimball was having with the conflicting schedules. Not that I follow up on the planning or zoning, but there are occasions when the planning board or the zoning board may not have anything on the agenda, may postpone a meeting, reschedule a meeting. There's not a great deal of consistency as there is with council, and I agree. There's security in knowing that, you know, if you're into regular meetings, to second and fourth, I find the workshops a little boring, so I stay away from that. In that, this has the greatest amount of consistency, and Pete's request and recommendation of the school board, which has really no consistency at all, which Monday they meet. And if I'm going to follow up on the comment about tonight's meeting, they meet at various schools at different times, sort of like a traveling circus, pardon the pun. But they surely could make that a little simpler. I also had one other question regarding what our townships aware of any change in the shared service agreement, solid waste with the other municipalities. What is your knowledge to what changes are being introduced and implemented that affects Gloucester Township and the residents?
That's not a shared service, it's a cooperative purchasing agreement. Cherry Hill is the lead agency, and there are several municipalities participating. Gloucester Township is the largest. Winslow is participating, Pine Hill is participating, and Merchantville is participating. And the reason they're all going for a cooperative purchasing agreement is because of the economies of scale. and the fact that each one of the 5 towns their agreements are expiring on December 31st, 2015. So there will be bids coming in and being opened shortly. They are very complex. They involve each individual town receiving a bid by themselves. They involve bids for automated service. The bid document is about that thick. So I don't have an answer for you at this point because I don't know what's coming in. And until those bids are reviewed, we won't know what direction we're going in. So,
Tom, the cooperative gives flexibility to each town.
it does.
I just want to make sure we all understand that.
Okay. Amongst them, you said the cooperative in purchasing. Now, services of purchasing, you're purchasing a service from Republic or whomever may be awarded that. Anything else that our township knows, what else would be purchased that would make a significant difference in our township?
In terms of other services?
Items, service, the way service is rendered.
Are you talking about the trash collection again?
Trash collection, yes.
No, I don't know of anything that's different than what we're doing now, other than the automated, which would require us to purchase the toters, which could be a significant expense. So,
Would that, the toters being the 30-gallon, 96?
96 gallon, yes.
So our trash would therefore then be collected, and that will that work just like the recycling? Everybody will get one?
Yes,
Will it be GPS tracked in the same as the?
yes.
Okay. With the significance difference being, now we're talking about a 96-gallon container of heavy trash, not lightweight cardboard, plastic, and
Again,
aluminum.
that's an option. The other option will be the service as it is now.
Okay. Cherry Hill has it on their agenda, and it's readily available online, that Cherry Hill is taking the lead. The head of the Public Works is accepting the bids for this. That being the case, if that purchasing cooperative does go towards that option of these cans and decides for all the municipalities involved, will that mean the Gloucester Township will answer to the request of Cherry Hill, whereas a 96-gallon can will be distributed to all in Gloucester Township, and this body will not weigh in on that once that bidding process begins?
Our decision and each decision of each of the 5 municipalities will be made independently based on our observations of the bids.
Will that come before this body, and will the public be able to comment on this, and will it be put on the agenda as a regular agenda item for the public to be speaking on that?
My understanding is this body will need to award a contract, so yes, it will come before this body.
Okay, will it be pretty much clear at that point, the details of that agreement and what details, including if it's still Republic, if it's still, is it going to be automated pickup, is it going to be standard cans? Everything will be detailed so the public will understand.
As the township's qualified purchasing agent, I, along with the mayor, will make a recommendation to the governing body, along with Mr. Carlemere, as to what we feel is the best scenario for Gloucester Township.
And it would just be my recommendation that we keep the language very simple, forget block and lot, no, that's another thing. But keep it simple so that the people know exactly what's happening. I think that may have an impact on the seniors of this township, because you take a 96-gallon recycle bin out to the curb, it's not the same as taking out 96 gallons of heavy trash after rain with the stink and the things that can accrue when somebody piles up the trash that high. It'd be great if we can keep aware. Like I said, Cherry Hill, the residents seem to be talking pretty much about it. And when I got the call, they asked what we were doing about it, and there wasn't much discussion here on that, so appreciate the input. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the second public portion. Polling of directors and council, please.
Mr. Lechner?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Carlemere?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cantwell?
Nothing to report tonight.
Mr. Hardis?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison?
I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening, and we're going to keep the prayers with Sam in mind.
Mrs. Estrada? Thank you for coming out, and also thank you to the community for your support again for another successful year for the Relay for Life of Gloucester Township. We've raised over $62,000 for this year, putting us up over $400,000 in 6 years. So thank you to everyone for your continued support, and thank you to Public Works and the Police Department and for your support and for your help in making sure that anything we needed was taken care of. So thank you.
Mrs. Winters?
I say thank you for coming out. I duplicate Dan's thoughts about Sam and have a safe 4th of July.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I want to thank Mr. Lechner. As I said earlier, he presented the re-examination report, which is an update on the master plan. It talked about different goals and objectives that we have as a township. I presented that in front of our planning board meeting. It was well received, so thank you, Mr. Lechner, for the work you've done on that. Also, kudos to our police department. Last week at the Rite Aid, there was armed robbery there, and our schools had to be shut down in the area, or locked out, and I knew they were going to catch that sucker, and they caught him. So great job to you and your staff. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Yeah, thank you for attending tonight's meeting. Please keep Sam in your prayers so that he makes a full recovery. Also, I wish everyone a happy 4th of July. With that, we have a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.